5e, order relations with fractions. Okay, so we looked a little bit at order relations when we first got into fractions, but now we're going to take it a little more in depth. What we looked at previously was what the denominator is some value and the numerator is 1, or if the denominator is some value and the numerator was just 1 less than that. But how do we compare other things? So what if we have, well, obviously, if we have the same denominator, it's easy to compare. If we're given 3/7 and 5/7, you have something split into 7 pieces, and you have 3 of the pieces. You have something split into 7 pieces, and you have 5 of the pieces. Obviously, 5 pieces is greater than 3 pieces, so 3/7 is less than 5/7. But what if we don't have the same denominator? How do we compare that? It would be nice if it always worked out that we had the same denominator, but what if we have something like 3/4 and 8/12? So I have 3/4 and 8/12. Well, how can I compare them? The easiest way to compare them is to compare apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. Right now we're dealing with something broken into 4 pieces and something broken into 12 pieces. Well, a common denominator will allow us to compare them, because now we can say, what about if they're both broken into this many pieces? How much do I have? So I see 4 and 12, and I see that 12 is a multiple of 4, so I can just multiply 4 by 3 times 3. Multiply top and bottom, 4 times 3 is 12, to make that 12, and I end up with 9/12. So if I've got 9/12 and 8/12, obviously 9/12 is greater than 8/12. Pretty straightforward, right? What if we have 5/6 and 9/14? 5/6, 9/14. So that previous one, you might have said, well, it was obvious, Mr. Davis, because I could see the 3 and the 12. In fact, your 12 was actually, not in simplest form, so I could have reduced that, and that could have made it really easy for me. Well, what about this? I've got 6 and 14, so I've got 5/6 and 9/14. Well, if I want to do the comparison, let's get them to a common denominator. Well, 6 and 14. 14 is not a multiple of 6, so that's not going to work. I could multiply 6 times 14, but I think I might be able to do something a little simpler than that. So I can look at this and go, well, I've got 6, gives me 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 14, 28, 42, oh, I can stop right there, 42, so I've got a common denominator of 42, or the least common multiple, right? 42, so I can put those both over 42. Over 42, over 42, 6 times 7 gives me 42, so 5 times 7 gives me 35. 14 times 3 gives me 42, so 9 times 3 gives me 27, and 35 40-seconds is greater than 27 40-seconds. But that's really the method. Find a common denominator, create the new fraction with that common denominator, and compare. But Mr. Davis, that's great. You're giving us all these proper fractions. What if I have a mixed number? What if I have 5 and 11/27 and 5 and 4/7? Well, what can I do now? You can do the same thing. 5s are the same, so that's not going to compare into your greater than, less than, right? It's just the fraction that matters. So if we can rewrite the fraction with a common denominator, then we're going to be good to go. Now, unfortunately with this, I see that this is factorable, 7 is a prime number. And 27 is not divisible by 7, so the best we're going to do is multiplying those two denominators together. So 27 times 7 gives me 189. So 11 times 7 is 77. And then 27 times 7 gives me 189. 27 times 4 gives me 108. So I have 5 and 77 189ths. 5 and 108 189ths, so obviously 108 is larger than 77. So therefore 5 and 77 189ths is less than 5 and 108 189ths. So therefore 5 and 11 27ths is less than 5 and 4 sevenths. So there we go, order relations with fractions. Get a common denominator and comparisons are easy.